What's up, everybody? Braun here, president of Blackstone Labs. There's the clock, as we have been doing in all of the Beat PGA training videos, so you can see how fast that these workouts take. It's kind of funny, they've all started at the same time, which is not the time that I normally train in my regular life, but we wanted to go when the gym was empty to make sure that we could do this thing the right way for you guys. So what you see here is I typically start out my workout with some sort of pull down superset. Now, I either do a close V-bar or an underhand grip, as you see here. I'm not a big fan of the regular overhand lat pull down, although I will use them from time to time. I don't feel they give enough stretch in the insertion of the lats. When your arms are closer together, obviously that your lats have to stretch farther, so it makes more sense to me to take them through the farthest range of motion possible. I think that's the best way to stimulate as much muscle as possible. If you don't believe me, you can ask Dorian Yates, because he was a huge advocate of that himself, and he had a pretty decent back. So what I would do is I would use some sort of cable pull down move. I'm going to show you guys a cool variation at another point in this workout. But I superset them together for usually 4 sets until I got a lot of blood going, and then I move on. Today what I did was a hammer strength superset. I don't love hammer strength machines for individual, straight sets, but I do think they're great for supersets because you can set up your seats wherever you want them. You can bounce back and forth very easily, and it's very good to pump a lot of blood into one muscle in a maximal amount of time. So what you're going to see here, I know the first one, you've all seen that hammer strength row machine a million times, but this is unique. This is a hammer strength low row that is designed to be done with an underhand grip. When you look at the instructions, it doesn't even have you positioned at all the way that I'm positioned in. What I found is if you set the seat in the right spot and you use an overhand grip, pulling your elbows in by your sides, as you see I am, into your waist, it hits your lats in a very, very unique way, and I've gotten a lot of people to really love this motion. It's an odd stretch that you feel maybe a couple inches below your scapula, kind of like the mid-thoracic lumbar region, not so much in the actual meat of your lats. Now you're going to see me bouncing back and forth a lot in this back workout. I do almost all super and giant sets when I train my back. That's kind of the thing you're going to see consistent with all of my workouts, is I do like supersets, but back is predominantly superset based. I like to move very fast. And I like rows. Row your back is going to be the theme of this workout. You're going to see me doing tons of rowing moves. When you row your back consistently, you get a different kind of thickness that comes into your lower lats. And you can do pull downs all day, but I really don't think that you can achieve the level of thickness to your lats without doing lots of heavy rows. And heavy, of course, is a relative term. I'm sure there's many of you that can do a lot more than 2 45s and a 25 on each side, as you see me doing here. But like we state in all the workouts, I move very, very fast. We're talking very minimal breaks. I want to make a point on this, on the overhand in the low row. This is not something that you want to be going heavy on, because it's going to actually put an awkward stretch on your shoulder joint when you're fully outstretched, as you see in the front. So I think it's more important that you just focus on a really explosive contraction and controlling the negative as much as possible. I'm only using a 45 and a 25, and it's pretty tough. I think the most I could possibly use would be 2 45s, but I suggest starting with the 45 and really learning the move first. Now that I'm pretty fatigued, I'm going to go into today a good old-fashioned T-bar row. Very important when you do a T-bar row. So many people do these wrong. They stand up really tall. You're wasting your time if you're doing that. You want to be over the weight. You want the weight to be pulling you forward, much like when you do a barbell row. I would typically do one or the other. If I were going to do a barbell row, I normally wouldn't do a T-bar in the same workout. Right now, I like the idea of doing the T-bar because it's easier to get the plates on. I can do a little bit faster. Also, to do a heavy barbell row kind of bothers my bad shoulder still. If I was going to do barbell row, though, if you're curious, I prefer an underhand grip. I like the stretch that I get better. This is the one exercise that I'm actually not really supersetting, and I am trying to go a little bit heavier on. As I've said in many workouts, with the pace that I'm going, I am not trying to break any records, just get a really, really good squeeze, really good contraction. But I will push a little bit heavier on the T-bar rows. Again, we do about 4 sets of these. Typically for me, On a good day, I'm doing 4 sets. If I'm feeling really gassed out, I'm doing 3. And then sometimes, you never know, if I'm feeling really, really good on a particular exercise and I just like the way it's going, I'll do 5 sets or even 6. You know, I don't believe that you have to do, you know, X amount of sets. So this, I think, if I remember, is the last set that I did of the T-bar rows. So it's come from another angle back here so you can see that I'm bent all the way over the weight. I can't stress this. I know I just said it, but you've got to stay over the weight on this one, guys, or you're wasting your time. But you can see all the muscles on my back squeezing and contracting really hard. You know, that's the goal that you want here. Of course, always nice to all the ladies in the gym. I'm going to move on this way. And I'm going to go to a really tough burnout exercise now. This is something that if you do in the middle of your workout, as I'm doing, you'll be able to do a little bit more weight. But basically what I'm doing here is I'm set up on the back of an incline and I'm going to do a 1-arm dumbbell row. But what's making it challenging, because you see I'm only doing about 75 pounds, is I'm going from one arm to the other, back and forth without a rest at all. So again, this is one of those things that on a really good day, I'll do 4 sets of. On a day where I'm not feeling too, you know, gassed out, maybe I didn't eat enough, I'll do 3. The most I've ever done is 5. It's brutally hard to do 5 sets of nonstop dumbbell rows because your forearms really fry out before anything else. But you're basically just going to go through this nonstop and then move on to the next. Where did I get this idea? The first time I ever actually saw anybody doing this was when Oscar Arden was training Evan Centopani. He made him do it in a workout one day. And Evan was dying, and Evan is very, very, very strong, and he was only using 80-pound dumbbells. So I was like, man, this has got to be brutal if he's dying like that. And I've been incorporating it in here and there ever since. I do like to do them on an incline versus a regular flat bench because I like to stand up a little taller and then really exaggerate the stretch at the bottom. This is one of those things where I think it's okay to yank the weight a little bit too, as long as you're controlling it. Now, of course, more rows. Like I said, lots and lots of rows. I'm a superset a low row. If your gym has one of these where the pulley is set really low rather than higher, it's a very unique angle where I feel like you can squeeze your lower lats a lot more. It's a very short range of motion. Another variation of this, by the way, is if you put the rope attachment on this, you can pull your elbows back farther and really exaggerate that contraction even more. But this is the variation that I wanted to show you guys of the pull down, this rope pull down. So you're going to be 90 degrees to the floor. See, I'm bent all the way over. Keep your chest and head arched up and just concentrate on squeezing down with your lats. You're opening up your rib cage, stretching, and then squeezing down. It's exactly like doing a dumbbell pullover, but it is completely safe on the joint because you don't have any awkward dead weight yanking you back on a bench. You can actually stop before the stretch is too far, which you see me doing here, and just keep all the tension on the stretch of the lat the whole time. I cannot do a dumbbell pullover at all because of my bad shoulder anymore, but I do feel that pullover exercises are invaluable in your back routine. I think that they help stretch the fascia so you can get more blood in, and I also do think it's good for just prolonging the tension on the muscle. I believe this is my final set here, and again, guys, typical 3 sets if I'm not feeling good, 4 sets if I'm feeling great. I usually won't do 2 stiff arm pull down exercises in the same workout. It's not something that I typically do. I usually do one or the other, but I wanted to be able to explain to you guys the difference in these 2. I really like this variation with the rope. It's a unique stretch that you get, and I think it really helps open everything up. It's definitely unique. It's much different than your typical stiff arm pull down. So I really think that you guys should go out and give this one a try. And if you don't like it, then stick to the regular stiff arm one. But we've said it before in different workouts, everything works sometimes, nothing works all the time. Another weird one I wanted to show you guys. This is a variation of a high row on the hammer machine. Now, I'm not even in the machine, so I'm sitting on the outside of the machine, and I'm basically doing a 1-arm lat pull down. What's really cool about doing these is you can lean yourself forward or backward to contract different parts of the muscle from a different angle. And I'll actually change it. Sometimes I'll lean forward a little more, sometimes I'll lean back. You can mimic the motion of a behind the neck pull down, but not actually have to go behind the neck because you're free to move around very easy. But it's really cool to isolate your lat in a pull down motion. It's not something that you can do every day. I'm usually going to be fixed in a pulley. So this is, again, not something that I do all the time, but I wanted to show you guys a couple cool like finishing moves that I'll typically do. So we'll just show it from a different angle here. Another thing that I do in my back workout that I don't do as much for other body parts is I actually stretch more in between my sets. So I do still contract the muscle, just like when I said on chest day and stuff, that I would always contract my chest in between sets. But on back, I find that I get so tight that what really helps me is just hanging from a lat pull down bar, or just letting my body weight pull myself from the side of a bench, just so I can open everything up. And I find that you can get better pumps and better contractions by doing this, just increasing the fascia's ability to take more blood flow. This is the last set that I will do of these. I know these look super awkward, and they're going to be awkward when you try them for the first time, but you'll get a very good burn up around, I'd say the area between your rear delts and your traps in that upper back area, the kind of spot on your back that shows through a stringer tank top. That's where you're going to really feel this burn. And it's unique, and I definitely think that you guys will like this one if you try it. I think I saw Vince Taylor doing it actually in a Battle for the Olympia video years ago. Now we're gonna go to the infamous and dangerous behind the neck pull down that I'm not supposed to be doing because of my shoulder injury. That is, for the most part, true. You really shouldn't do these if you have a shoulder injury, and this is actually a very awkward one for me. But what I've done is I found a way to vary this exercise, because I feel that it squeezes the upper back in a way that only a behind the neck can actually achieve. There's not another machine that I feel like you can mimic this motion on. So what I'm doing here is I'm sitting backwards, so I don't have to fight against gravity so much with the cable to pull back. It's actually a little smoother like this. And I'm kind of just imagining that I'm doing a back double bi and just squeezing my muscles down until my hands are about the level where they would be in that pose. So I'm not actually pulling it real far down on my neck and exaggerating the stretch. And then, because I'm going so light, I'm going to superset it with a backwards. I like to do a lot of these exercises backwards because you have to just use your body weight as resistance, and it's a lot harder to cheat. But this is a backwards close grip pull down. Another one that I feel is very, very good for bringing out the lats, especially in the front poses. When you think about your back, you're thinking about back double bi, back lat spread, and how good you're going to look in those poses. But I actually feel like a lot of the exercises that I select are to help open yourself up in those front poses, like the stiff arm pull downs, like that close grip pull down. Those are the things that I think, if done properly and executed properly, it help stretch that fascia where your lat inserts around your serratus and your rib cage there, and you get a little bit more pop in your front poses. And that's something that you don't really see until you've got a lot of really good mature muscle, where you can open up from the front and really have a lot of beef showing in the front. I know I still need a lot more there, but it's something that I never neglect in my workouts. I believe this is probably the last set that we're doing here of the behind the neck pull down with the close grip pull down. But again, 4 sets, man. I know this sounds like, wow, this guy's doing a lot of sets, but it is, but none of these sets are brutally heavy where it's ripping up my joints. So I feel like the way my mentality is, I'm not killing my joints. I'm not, doing anything that's gonna, injure me bad. So I might as well keep pumping until I don't have anything left to pump. And here at the end, you might be like, shrugs, where the hell did these come in? Now, people always say like that they do shrugs on their shoulder day, which does make sense. And for a while I did shrugs on my shoulder day as well. And I don't really do too much trap work. But when I do, I actually like to do it on back day, because your trapezius is part of your back, and the trapezius muscle runs from your skull all the way down into the middle of your back. So when you're doing all these rows, you're stretching your traps like crazy. So to me, I always feel like this is just a way of finishing them off a little bit. And I actually do have pretty big traps genetically, but what I really think played the biggest role in building my traps was years of deadlifting. And why didn't I deadlift in this video? Because, to be honest with you, I don't really deadlift too much anymore. It's a very, very hard exercise. It takes a lot of time, a lot of rest. And because I like to train at such a fast pace, it's just something that I don't do too much anymore. There's the time. As you can see, we're finishing in 45 minutes, just like all the other workouts. And I think we're gonna hit some poses now, show you guys a little bit of my condition. Probably gonna leak out a little bit more of this each time I do a video. I think the next one we do is legs. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm not going to talk through this posing. I guess I'll let you guys watch it and see what you think. And I I appreciate the critiques and the feedback on the videos. Seems like you guys like them so far. But Beat PJ is still going. I got a couple more weeks, guys. The code still works. Beat PJ for discount from both companies. And that's it. PJ Braun, Blackstone Labs, signing out. The wrath has just begun.